Think of the last time you walked into a room and felt like everyone noticed. It's not about the clothes you wore or the way you entered. It's about the undeniable presence you carried. That's the essence of a strong, intimidating personality. Today we're diving deep into what it truly means to hold such a presence. Inspired by the Stoic philosophy, which teaches the art of remaining unaffected by external chaos and focusing solely on inner virtue, we will explore how these principles shape not just your outer image, but your core self. Stoicism isn't just an ancient idea. It's a practical toolkit for anyone who stands firm in their values and faces life with unshakable resolve. So whether you're looking to understand your own strength or simply curious about the quiet power of Stoicism, stay tuned as we uncover the traits that make a personality truly formidable. If you appreciate delving into the depths of personality and the timeless wisdom of Stoicism, a simple favor I'll ask from you is to hit the subscribe button. Also, stick with us throughout. Every part of this video is crafted to enhance your understanding and appreciation of these powerful traits. Sign 1. Emotional independence. The first sign is about finding strength within yourself, a theme central to Stoic philosophy. The Stoics believed that true freedom comes from within, not from external validations or opinions. This kind of independence means that you don't need others to tell you you're doing well or that you're on the right path. Instead, you derive your sense of self-worth from your own judgments and convictions. When you embody emotional independence, you navigate life with a unique kind of confidence. It's the kind that doesn't scream for attention, but rather exudes a quiet, formidable presence. For instance, when faced with criticism or praise, an emotionally independent person remains stable and unaffected. Their self-value isn't tied to the fluctuating opinions of others. It's rooted in a deep understanding of their own virtues and values. This stability can be both inspiring and intimidating to others. It's inspiring because it represents a level of self-assurance and maturity many aspire to. Yet it can be intimidating because it challenges the normative social fabric where external approval is often sought to reinforce personal identity. This trait also involves making decisions based on personal conviction rather than societal expectations. When you live this way, your choices reflect a direct line to your core beliefs, undiluted by the noise of the crowd. It's about having the courage to follow your own path, even when it diverges sharply from what others might expect or accept. In the context of Stoicism, this aligns closely with the practice of focusing only on what you can control, your own thoughts and actions, and letting go of the rest. By fostering emotional independence, you not only protect your inner peace, but also cultivate a life that's true to your deepest self. This isn't about isolation or indifference towards others. Rather, it's about ensuring that your interactions are genuine and not merely transactions for emotional validation. Such a way of living doesn't just change how you feel about yourself. It transforms how you engage with the world around you, making your presence naturally strong and, yes, engaging. Sometimes even a bit intimidating. Sign 2. Extensive knowledge. This is not just about accumulating facts. It's about cultivating a deep, broad understanding that influences your perspective and actions, a principle heavily embraced in Stoicism. The Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius or Seneca, weren't just philosophers. They were also students of life, dedicating themselves to learning not only about the world, but also about the inner workings of the human mind and spirit. When you develop an extensive knowledge base, you're not just learning, you're equipping yourself with tools to navigate life more effectively. This kind of knowledge makes you formidable. It's not merely about being able to recite facts or win trivia games. It's about understanding the underlying principles that govern various aspects of life. Whether it's science, art, literature, or human behavior, having a well-rounded grasp allows you to make connections that others might miss. This holistic view is intimidating because it enables you to challenge superficial conclusions and engage in meaningful debates that can shift perspectives. Moreover, extensive knowledge fosters a unique form of self-reliance. Stoicism teaches the value of self-sufficiency, not just in terms of physical needs, but intellectual and emotional ones as well. When you know a lot, you rely less on others to form opinions and more on your own critical thinking skills. This intellectual independence is a significant aspect of your intimidating personality. It's about having the confidence to trust your own judgments and the courage to question popular opinions. In conversations, this trait can make you a leader, often the go-to person for insights and answers. It's not just that people might feel less around you. Rather, they're drawn to the depth of understanding you bring. This can place you in positions of authority and influence, which, while beneficial, also sets a high standard for you to maintain. Being known for your knowledge means you're often expected to contribute at a high level, which can be a powerful yet daunting expectation to live up to. Extensive knowledge isn't just about what you know. It's about how you apply what you know to lead a more reasoned, balanced, and fulfilling life. It's about the wisdom to navigate complexity with ease and the ability to remain calm and effective in the face of challenges, hallmarks of both an intimidating personality and a devoted Stoic. Sign 3. Rational decision-making. Stoicism teaches us the importance of responding to life's challenges with reason rather than emotion. This means evaluating situations based on facts, logic, and practicality instead of getting swayed by fleeting emotions or peer pressure. Such a clear-headed approach is not just a sign of intellectual maturity, it also makes you appear formidable in the eyes of others who might be less consistent in their reasoning. When you make decisions rationally, you're drawing on a deep internal well of knowledge and critical thinking. It's about seeing beyond the surface emotions of the moment and understanding the long-term consequences of your actions. This doesn't mean that emotions don't play a role in your decisions. Rather, it's about not letting them lead the decision-making process. By prioritizing rationality, you ensure that your choices are aligned with your core values and life goals, principles deeply rooted in Stoic philosophy. This approach can be particularly intimidating because it demonstrates a level of self-control and foresight that is rare. People tend to be influenced by the heat of the moment or the weight of external opinions. In contrast, someone who remains unaffected by these pressures and chooses the most logical path forward, even when it's the tougher choice, exudes a sense of independence and strength that can be both awe-inspiring and intimidating. Furthermore, rational decision-making means that you are likely to be direct and straightforward in your interactions. There's a certain confidence that comes with knowing your decisions are well thought out and based on solid reasoning. This can make interactions with others more straightforward as you're less likely to waver or seem indecisive. However, this directness, a product of your rationality, can also make others uncomfortable, especially if they are not used to such clear-cut communication. Embracing this trait means you embody the Stoic ideal of living according to reason, not impulse. It allows you to navigate life with a calm assurance that your path is the right one, not just for the moment, but aligned with a broader, more considered view of life. This can make you a leader, a confidant, and a leader. And yes, sometimes an intimidating presence to those still struggling with the tumult of unchecked emotions. Sign 4. Decisiveness. Decisiveness is not just a trait. It's a statement of confidence, a declaration that you trust your own judgment enough to make choices swiftly and effectively. In Stoicism, decisiveness is rooted in the practice of exercising clear and rational judgment, removing the clutter of unnecessary thought that can cloud decision-making. It's about being present in the moment, fully aware and unswayed by external distractions, a powerful and sometimes intimidating display of inner strength. When you're decisive, you're effectively saying that you have weighed the options, considered the potential outcomes, and are ready to move forward with conviction. This can make a significant impact on those around you. It shows that you are not only capable of making choices, but also willing to stand by them. In a world where many may hesitate, caught up in indecision, your ability to act swiftly sets you apart. This decisiveness is intimidating because it implies a level of self-assuredness and competence that others might feel they lack. Moreover, Stoicism teaches that we should not be perturbed by things outside our control, focusing instead on our reactions and decisions. By embodying this principle, your decisiveness becomes a testament to your commitment to control your own life. It demonstrates a philosophical detachment from the chaos of life's unpredictabilities, focusing instead on actionable steps that you can influence. This approach also influences how you handle responsibilities and challenges. Decisive individuals are often seen as leaders because they don't shy away from the responsibility of making tough calls. Your clarity in decision-making ensures that your actions are deliberate and your path forward is unambiguous. This not only enhances your own life, but also provides a guiding light for others who are searching for direction, but find it hard to break through the fog of uncertainty. Being decisive, then, is not merely about making decisions quickly. It's about embodying the Stoic ideal of informed and rational action, which commands respect and at times can be quite intimidating. This is because your decisiveness challenges others to examine their own hesitations and encourages them to cultivate their inner fortitude. Sign 5. Strong moral codes. In Stoicism, the adherence to strong moral principles is essential as it guides one to live a life of virtue and integrity. The Stoics believed that virtue is the only true good, and everything we do should be aimed at living a virtuous life, which inherently requires a strong moral foundation. When you possess strong moral codes, you navigate life with a compass that is constantly aligned towards what is right and just. This conviction can be quite intimidating to others, especially in a society where moral relativism often prevails. Your unwavering stance on issues of right and wrong sets a standard that can challenge others to reflect on their own moral beliefs and behaviors. It's not just about being good. It's about being consistently good regardless of the circumstances or the potential benefits of compromising your values. This trait also fosters a sense of reliability and trustworthiness. People know where you stand, and they can trust that your actions are guided by your deep-seated principles rather than whims or external pressures. In discussions and debates, your strong moral perspective provides a clear, often unshakable viewpoint that contributes to your reputation as someone who is formidable and commanding respect. Moreover, embodying strong moral codes means that you are often the voice of reason and the advocate for justice in situations where others might choose silence or complacency. This proactive stance not only reinforces your own sense of self, but also acts as a catalyst for change and ethical leadership. It can be intimidating because it calls on others to rise to your level of moral integrity, which is a challenge not everyone is ready to accept. Having strong moral codes as guided by Stoic philosophy is about more than just making the right choices. It's about leading a life that is a testament to the enduring values of honesty, justice, courage, and wisdom. Your life becomes a beacon of what it means to live rightly, not as judged by societal standards, but by the timeless standards of virtue that define the very core of Stoicism. This not only makes you intimidating, but profoundly influential in the lives of those around you. Sign 6. Your words have weight. When your words have weight, each phrase and sentence you utter carries an impact that resonates beyond the immediate conversation. This is a trait deeply admired in the Stoic tradition, where the wise are measured not by the quantity of their words, but by the quality and truth they convey. Stoicism teaches us that it's not just what we say, but how we say it that matters. Our words should reflect our inner virtue and reasoned judgment. Possessing this trait means that you speak with authority and conviction. People listen not necessarily because they are required to, but because they find genuine value and incentives what you say. This influence is powerful. It shapes perspectives, influences decisions, and can even alter the course of events. This weight comes from a combination of your knowledge, emotional intelligence, and the moral grounding you consistently display. It's about being seen as someone who speaks with purpose and profound understanding, making your voice not just heard, but respected and considered. Furthermore, when your words carry weight, you are often seen as a leader, someone capable of guiding others through your articulation and thoughtful expression. This can be intimidating to others because it sets a high benchmark. It implies that you are not merely participating in discussions, you are setting the tone and direction of those discussions. It's a manifestation of the Stoic idea that the wise lead not by imposing power, but through the inherent force of their ethical and rational clarity. This trait also demands a high level of responsibility. Knowing that your words influence, you choose them carefully, aware of their potential to affect others' thoughts and feelings. In Stoicism, this is akin to the practice of self-control and discretion, emphasizing that it is better to speak less than, and with more meaningful content than to speak often with little substance. Therefore, having your words carry weight is not merely about the impact you make in conversations, but about embodying the Stoic virtues of wisdom, justice, courage, and moderation. Every time you speak, your voice therefore becomes a tool not just for communication, but for teaching, leading, and inspiring others towards greater understanding and virtue. This powerful trait underscores your role as a modern Stoic, one who not only navigates life with reason and ethics, but also enriches the lives of others with words that matter. Sign 7. Comfort in solitude. This isn't just about enjoying your own company. It's about embracing the quiet and using it as a tool for growth and reflection. This aligns closely with Stoic principles which emphasize the importance of self-awareness and personal development that often occurs in moments of solitude. The Stoics saw solitude not as loneliness, but as an opportunity to deepen one's understanding of self and the world, free from the distractions and influences of the external environment. When you are comfortable being alone, it reflects a strong sense of self-sufficiency and confidence. It indicates that you do not rely on the presence or approval of others to validate your feelings or actions. This trait can be quite intimidating to others because it challenges the common fear of being alone, suggesting a level of emotional and psychological maturity that many might still be striving to achieve. It shows that you are complete in yourself, grounded in your values, and not swayed by the fleeting opinions and emotions that often influence social interactions. Moreover, solitude fosters creativity and problem-solving. When you are alone, you are with your thoughts, allowing you to engage deeply with them without interruption. This can lead to clearer thinking and better decision-making. For a Stoic, this process is crucial. It's about using reason to lead one's life effectively. The ability to sit with oneself and reflect is seen not just as a skill, but as an essential practice that strengthens one's character and fortitude. This comfort in solitude also means that when you do interact with others, your interactions are likely to be more meaningful and intentional. You engage because you choose to, not because you need to, which enhances the quality of your relationships. Your presence in any social setting is thus more potent and impactful. You bring insights gained from your reflections, adding depth and weight to conversations. Being comfortable in solitude is a testament to your complete and composed nature. It's about having the courage to face yourself, the wisdom to learn from what you find, and the confidence to return to society without losing your centeredness. This is a profound aspect of Stoicism, the peace found within oneself that radiates outward, influencing others in subtle yet powerful ways. Sign 8. Ability to handle difficult conversations. Stoics practice the art of responding rather than reacting, allowing them to engage in challenging discussions with grace and wisdom. Handling difficult conversations well means you're equipped to navigate the complexities of human emotions and conflicts without losing your cool. This capability can be somewhat intimidating to others, as it demands a level of emotional intelligence and self-control that many are still developing. It shows that you are not only a thinker, but also a mediator and a leader, someone who can face tension without succumbing to it. In Stoicism, the focus is often on the internal control of one's responses. When you engage in difficult conversations, you are essentially practicing this Stoic ideal. You are examining not just what is being said, but how you can contribute to the resolution or understanding of the issue. This often involves setting aside personal feelings to address the larger needs of the moment, which is a hallmark of Stoic detachment and virtue. Moreover, your ability to handle these conversations shows that you value truth and progress over comfort and avoidance. It's about confronting the reality of a situation, however uncomfortable it may be, to foster greater understanding or find solutions. This is not just about courage, it's about commitment to the truth, to improvement, to relationships. This commitment can challenge others to rise to the occasion, which, while productive, can also be daunting. The Stoic approach to difficult conversations also involves a readiness to forgive and look beyond one's own perspective. It's about recognizing that every person has their reasoning, and that understanding this is key to resolution and growth. Your capacity to engage in these challenging dialogues without judgment, but with an aim for clarity and resolution, reflects a deep-rooted wisdom and a desire for harmony, even when the process to achieve it can be rigorous and demanding. Ultimately, your ability to manage tough conversations with a calm and collected demeanor not only makes you a pivotal figure in social and professional settings, but also demonstrates a life lived true to Stoic principles. It shows that you are not just participating in exchanges, but are guiding them towards meaningful outcomes, making your interactions profound and impactful. Sign 9. Dominance in group settings. This trait, deeply rooted in Stoic philosophy, reflects a form of leadership that comes from inner confidence and the ability to influence others through calm assertiveness and reasoned argument. In Stoicism, the emphasis is on leading by example and making decisions that reflect wisdom and virtue. When you dominate in group settings, it's not about exerting power over others, but about guiding discussions in a direction that leads to the best outcomes for all involved. This sort of influence can be intimidating to some because it sets a high standard of integrity and accountability. It shows that you are not merely participating, but are actively shaping the flow of interactions, making your input crucial to the outcome. Your dominance in a group is characterized by your ability to listen actively, respond thoughtfully, and steer conversations away from chaos and towards coherence and constructive ends. This doesn't mean you're always talking. Rather, your contributions are so substantial that they shift perspectives, deepen understanding, and guide the collective effort. This ability to bring clarity and direction to group dynamics is a hallmark of Stoic leadership, which values harmony and the common good over personal gain. Moreover, your presence in a group setting often brings a sense of calm and order. People look to you not just for answers, but for reassurance that the discussion will yield fruitful results. This trust is based on past experiences of your rational and equitable approach to handling group dynamics, where you've demonstrated fairness and strategic thinking. Your dominance in group settings embodies the Stoic virtues of courage, justice, wisdom, and temperance. It's about being so firmly rooted in these virtues that your mere presence encourages others to elevate their own discourse and behavior. Your leadership style, therefore, is not only about directing others, but about inspiring them to adopt these Stoic principles in their own lives, making your role both influential and transformative in every group you are part of. They hate you, they distrust you, they will stab you in your back. Have you ever noticed that the nicest people often get treated the worst? That's because kindness without boundaries looks like weakness. Say yes too often and people start expecting it, give too much and they stop valuing it. The world doesn't respect those who are always available. It respects those who know their worth. All Stoics understood this truth. Respect isn't given, it's commanded. And in this video we dive deep into the psychology of kindness, why excessive generosity leads to disrespect, and how Stoic wisdom can help you balance kindness with strength. Watch till the end to learn how to command respect without losing your good heart. Let's get into it. Number 1. The psychology of overgiving. People look up to those who have earned their respect. In the event that you give excessively without anticipating receiving anything in return, you are conveying an unconscious message that your time and work are not valuable. It was originally written by Marcus Aurelius in his book, Meditations, that a man's worth is no greater than his ambitions in terms of our interactions with other people. This is a statement that is not just straightforward, but also immensely significant. If you do not have any goals or limits in place regarding your time and energy, how can you possibly expect other people to recognize the worth that you possess? Within this context, generosity has the potential to rapidly morph into an expectation, and once compassion is anticipated, respect begins to wane. The issue with excessive generosity is not simply that individuals lose the ability to appreciate it. Rather, it is that they begin to take it for granted. By doing so, consider the possibility that you are the person who is always willing to assist. Give an ear or go out of your way to make the life of another person simpler. First, people show their appreciation by expressing gratitude and thanking you. They may even express thankfulness. On the other hand, as time passes, they begin to believe that you will always be present. The efforts that you put out are no longer seen as a favor by them. Rather, they are seen as something that you merely carry out because they are merely anticipating that you would express gratitude to them. They do not feel the need to do so as regularly. The difficulty is that what was previously considered to be a given is no longer respected. This is where the problem begins. Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic philosopher, would remind us that self-respect is the root of all respect that is shown to others. When you fail to establish boundaries and do not place value on your own time and energy, it is inevitable that others will do the same. Your time and effort will be taken for granted, and they will take more than they should, leaving you feeling exhausted and unappreciated. They will assume that your time and effort are inexpensive according to what he previously wrote. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. If you are feeling unappreciated or overworked, and your thoughts are filled with resentment because of it, it is not the fault of the people around you. Rather, it is the result of your own failure to set boundaries. The truth is that people test the limits of what they are capable of taking without ever realizing it. They are going to continue to take from you if you never say no, and if you constantly give in addition every time you do not decline an offer, you are reinforcing the notion that your time, energy, and kindness are boundless supplies. If you want to say no, but are afraid of being rejected or failing other people, you could experience feelings of guilt. On the other hand, if you consistently contribute without taking into account your own requirements, it conveys the message that you do not respect yourself sufficiently to set strict boundaries for yourself. Because of this, boundaries are quite important. Everyone else will not value your time if you do not value it yourself. You are able to encourage others to do the same. By establishing distinct limits and showing respect for your own requirements, it may be unsettling at first, particularly if you are accustomed to giving more than you are expected to. But it is an essential step in making sure that your generosity is acknowledged and appreciated. You do not have to agree to every request that is made of you. Even more crucial, you shouldn't feel guilty about declining an offer when you say no to it. The Stoic philosophy tells us that virtue is not derived from continuously trying to please other people, but rather from living in accordance with reason. Marcus Aurelius had a deep comprehension of this, as opposed to wasting time trying to get the approval of other people. He concentrated on upholding his own dignity and behaving in a manner that was congruent with his principles according to what he wrote. Do not waste what remains of your life in speculating about others unless it is for some mutual benefit. Adjust your expectations. Often our impatience stems from things not going according to our plan. Remind yourself that you're not in control of everything, only your response to things. By setting more realistic expectations, you can find peace in the unfolding of life, however it happens. Every moment of impatience is a chance to practice, to deepen your understanding of Stoicism and to cultivate a serene mind. View each test of patience as an opportunity, not a hurdle. Like a muscle that gets stronger with exercise, your capacity for patience grows every time you choose it over frustration, and the rewards are immense. A calmer mind, less stress, and a reputation as someone who is composed and thoughtful, even in challenging situations. So next time you find yourself in a situation that tests your patience, remember the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius: the mind adapts and converts to its own purposes the obstacle to our acting. Let every challenge be a chance to practice and grow, cultivating patience as a powerful Stoic habit for solving problems with people. 5. Embody your philosophy. Have you ever felt that your words and actions don't quite align, leading to stress and inconsistency in your relationships? Imagine the power of living a life where your principles are not just spoken, but clearly demonstrated in everything you do. This is what the Stoic philosopher Epictetus meant when he encouraged his students to embody their philosophy. It's not about lecturing others on what they should do, but about showing through your own actions the virtues you hold dear. Epictetus said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." This advice is profoundly relevant when dealing with people and solving interpersonal problems. When you consistently live out your values, you become a beacon of reliability and integrity. Your actions become a testament to your character, setting a powerful example for others. This leads to greater trust and respect in your relationships, and ultimately to more harmonious interactions. Think about it. How often do we see people who say one thing but do another? It's frustrating and creates a sense of distrust. Now imagine being the person who always acts in accordance with their values. No matter the situation, your consistency not only earns you respect, but also inspires others to reflect on their own actions and values. By embodying your philosophy, you become a living example of the change you wish to see in the world. How do you start embodying your philosophy, especially in a world filled with temptations and distractions? It begins with self-reflection. Take a moment to consider the values that are truly important to you. What principles do you want to guide your life? Once you have clarity on these, strive to align your actions with your values. This alignment isn't about being perfect. It's about making a genuine effort to live according to your ideals, even when it's hard. And when you do slip up, it's about owning your mistakes, learning from them, and moving forward with even greater resolve. Another key aspect of embodying your philosophy is consistency. It's not just about doing the right thing when it's easy or when it's hard. When people are watching, it's about being consistent in your values, whether you're in the spotlight or alone. This consistency builds trust and respect, making your interactions more meaningful and effective. Imagine the ripple effect you can create by simply living out your principles. When you show kindness, even in challenging situations, others take notice. It might inspire them to act kindly in turn. When you demonstrate integrity, refusing to compromise on your values, it sets a standard for those around you. Your actions can encourage others to reflect on their own behavior and strive for improvement. By embodying your philosophy, you don't just solve problems with people. You inspire them. You lead by example, fostering an environment of mutual respect and understanding. So ask yourself, are you ready to live your philosophy every day? The journey might be challenging, but the impact you can make is immeasurable. 6. Maintain your inner peace. Have you ever felt like the negativity of others was dragging you down? Do you struggle to maintain your calm in the face of criticism or harsh comments? If so, you're not alone. Dealing with difficult people can be one of the most challenging aspects of life. But what if I told you that you have the power to protect your inner peace, no matter what others say or do? Marcus Aurelius, a renowned Stoic philosopher, often wrote about maintaining one's inner peace amidst external turmoil. He spoke of the inner citadel, a fortress within us that no external negativity can breach unless we allow it. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This concept is incredibly empowering. Imagine having a sanctuary within yourself that remains untouched by the storms of criticism, judgment, or negativity from others. So how do we build and maintain this inner citadel? It begins with recognizing what is and isn't within our control. We can't control other people's actions, the harsh comments they make, or the unkind rumors they spread. But we can control our response. We can choose not to engage with their negativity, not to internalize their harsh words, and not to let it disturb our peace. The first step is to pause and reflect. When faced with negativity, take a moment to breathe and remind yourself that this moment is just that. A moment. It will pass. Ask yourself, is this worth my peace? Often you'll find that the answer is no. This simple act of pausing can prevent a reactive spiral and give you space to choose a more reasoned response. Another powerful strategy is to reflect on the intention behind the negativity. Often those who lash out are struggling with their own issues, insecurities, or pain. Understanding this doesn't excuse their behavior, but it can help us respond with compassion rather than defensiveness or anger. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. Practicing mindfulness can also help maintain your inner citadel. Engage with uplifting content, connect with supportive people, and fill your environment with things that bring you joy and peace. By staying present and grounded, you can keep your inner peace intact, even in the face of external negativity. Remember, maintaining your inner peace is not about building walls or becoming indifferent. It's about choosing where to focus your energy and attention. It's about preserving your inner strength so you can face challenges with confidence, grace, and resilience. By cultivating these Stoic habits, you can transform how you deal with people and protect your precious inner peace. 7. Approach life with love and compassion. Have you ever wondered how love and compassion can play a role in solving problems with people? In the often tumultuous landscape of human interactions, it's easy to react with frustration or anger. But what if we approach these challenges with love and compassion instead? Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, wisely said, "Wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness." This profound insight offers us a powerful tool for navigating conflicts and fostering better relationships. Imagine transforming every interaction, even with difficult people, into an opportunity to show goodwill and understanding. How different would your life be if you could diffuse tension and build stronger connections simply by changing your perspective? Love and compassion are not just passive feelings. They are active, vibrant energies that you put out into the world. When faced with negativity, responding with empathy rather than defensiveness can have a transformative effect on both you and the other person involved. Think about the last time someone lashed out at you. Were they perhaps struggling with their own issues, insecurities, or pain? Recognizing that everyone is fighting their own battles helps us to respond with kindness rather than anger. This doesn't mean we condone bad behavior, but it allows us to see their negativity as their burden, not ours. By choosing compassion, we lighten both our load and theirs, fostering a more harmonious interaction. Moreover, love and compassion extend beyond our immediate relationships to encompass a broader view of life itself. Embracing life with open arms, appreciating its beauty, and engaging with the world positively can profoundly impact our well-being. It means practicing gratitude daily, showing appreciation to those around us, and reflecting on our actions and intentions to ensure they are rooted in love and kindness. How can we cultivate this loving, Stoic approach to life? Start small. Offer a kind word to a stranger. www.muji.org. Show appreciation to your loved ones, and practice gratitude. Reflect on moments when you might have responded with irritation and think about how you could have approached it with more empathy. By making conscious choices rooted in love and compassion, you can transform your interactions and relationships. Remember, as Seneca said, every human interaction is an opportunity for kindness. By embracing this Stoic habit, you can solve problems with people more effectively and create a more peaceful, fulfilling life. So the next time you face a challenging person or situation, ask yourself, how can I respond with love and compassion? The answer might just change your life. 8. Communicate clearly and calmly. Have you ever found yourself in a heated argument where words are flying, but nothing productive is being said? How often do we walk away from conflicts feeling misunderstood or unheard? Clear and calm communication is crucial for resolving problems with people, and the Stoics have profound wisdom to offer on this front. The Stoics valued rational and effective dialogue as a means to maintain harmony and understanding. Marcus Aurelius wisely noted, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." This principle is vital when communicating, especially in conflict situations, by ensuring our words are true and our actions right. We set a foundation for trust and respect in our interactions. Imagine approaching every conversation, even difficult ones, with a sense of calm and clarity. Instead of reacting impulsively, take a moment to pause, breathe, and listen, and collect your thoughts. This simple act can prevent misunderstandings and help you articulate your points more effectively. It's about controlling your emotions and not letting them dictate your words. When we speak from a place of calm, our message is clearer, and we are more likely to be understood. Active listening is another key component of clear communication. Often in the heat of a disagreement, we focus on what we want to say next, rather than truly hearing the other person. The Stoics teach us to listen more and speak less. By truly listening, we can understand the other person's perspective, which is crucial for resolving conflicts. Did you know that some people in your life might be subtly draining your energy or causing you harm, even without you realizing it? In today's world, where toxic behaviors are often hidden behind charming facades, it's crucial to recognize the signs of truly harmful individuals. This video will explore 10 specific signs that you might be dealing with a truly evil person, and how Stoic wisdom can help you protect your peace and navigate these toxic relationships. These are insights I've personally tested and integrated into my own life, and they've helped me build stronger boundaries and a more resilient mindset. Grab your journal, get comfortable, and let's dive into these transformative insights. Stick around as I'll share actionable steps and personal stories to help you spot and handle harmful people with wisdom and grace. Without further ado, let's get started and uncover the secrets to identifying truly toxic individuals and protecting your inner peace. Number 1, they take pleasure in others' failures. This behavior stems from envy and insecurity. People who take pleasure in others' failures see your success as a threat. They may think that if you rise, it somehow diminishes their own worth. It's almost as if they're keeping score, and your wins feel like points against them. Instead of celebrating your achievements, they silently root for your downfall, and sometimes they go a step further by actively sabotaging your efforts, whether it's spreading rumors, giving bad advice, or creating obstacles that make it harder for you to succeed. From a Stoic perspective, this is a clear sign of a mind in turmoil. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Their joy in your missteps reflects a lack of control over their own thoughts and emotions. Instead of focusing on their own growth, they fixate on bringing others down. It's important to remember that their negativity is not about you. It's a projection of their own dissatisfaction with life. Let me share an example. Imagine working on a group project, and you pour your heart into it. The moment you share the final results, someone in the group points out flaws, not to improve the work, but to diminish your contribution. They might laugh at mistakes, question your ideas, or even imply that you were just lucky if things went well. You may not see it immediately, but over time their pattern becomes clear. They're not offering constructive feedback. They're trying to chip away at your confidence. Transcription. So how do we respond? Stoicism offers us a path. Instead of reacting with anger or frustration, we can focus on our inner fortitude. Seneca said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." In this case, their craving for superiority over others reveals their poverty of spirit. By refusing to engage in their negativity, you protect your peace and keep your energy directed toward your own goals. You might also notice these individuals lurking when life throws you a curveball. Perhaps you've faced a setback like losing a job or struggling in a relationship, and instead of offering support, they seem oddly content. They may even exaggerate your situation when talking to others, turning your challenges into gossip. Stoicism teaches us to view such people with compassion, not resentment. Epictetus reminds us when someone behaves badly toward you, remember that he is acting in accordance with his own understanding. Their joy in your struggles is a reflection of their flawed perspective, not a measure of your worth. Another scenario might involve subtle sabotage. Let's say you're training for a big event, perhaps a marathon or a competition, and someone close to you keeps discouraging you. They might say things like, "Are you sure you're ready for this? You don't want to embarrass yourself." Or worse, they might tempt you into actions that derail your progress, like skipping training or indulging in unhealthy habits. Their discouragement isn't always blatant, but it's consistent enough to make you doubt yourself. The Stoic approach here is to maintain focus on your goals and not let their actions influence your path. Marcus Aurelius advised, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." By staying committed to your values and aspirations, you not only rise above their negativity, but also set an example of resilience and integrity. Number 2, they emit a negative energy. Have you ever walked into a room and immediately felt a shift in the atmosphere, as if the air got heavier? Maybe you couldn't pinpoint why, but you just knew something was off. Then, as you spent more time around a certain person, it became clear they seemed to carry a cloud of negativity wherever they went. Their presence alone could drain the energy from the room, leaving you feeling uneasy or even anxious. That's the power of the energy people emit, and those with truly negative energy have an uncanny ability to disrupt the harmony around them. Negative energy isn't always loud or obvious. Sometimes it's in the subtle things, a sigh that feels loaded with judgment, a comment that seems innocent but leaves a sting, or even just the way they look at you. You might notice how their presence makes you question yourself or feel uncomfortable in your own skin. They may not say much, but their energy speaks volumes. From a Stoic perspective, this is a reminder of the power of perception. As Epictetus said, it is not what happens to you, but how you interpret it that matters. Recognizing this energy for what it is, a reflection of their internal state, helps you remain grounded. The Stoics would encourage us to guard our inner state in such situations. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Their negative energy doesn't have to affect you unless you allow it to. Picture yourself as a steady rock in the middle of a storm. Their negativity might swirl around you, but it doesn't have to move you. Negative energy often manifests in subtle but persistent ways. For instance, you might notice how this person thrives on gossip, turning every conversation into a critique of others. Or perhaps they're always playing the victim, recounting stories where they've been wronged without ever taking accountability. Being around them can feel like stepping into quicksand. The longer you stay, the harder it is to maintain your own positivity. In moments like these, Stoic wisdom teaches us to set boundaries, both emotional and physical. Epictetus said, "Keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best." This doesn't mean avoiding every difficult person, but it does mean being mindful of how much energy you invest in these interactions. If someone's negativity is weighing on you, it's okay to limit your exposure or even politely excuse yourself from their company. Sometimes this negativity isn't directed at you, but still affects the environment. Imagine a friend who constantly complains about their circumstances, how unfair life is, how others have it better, how nothing ever goes their way. While you may empathize with their struggles, the unrelenting stream of pessimism can feel like a heavy weight on your shoulders. Stoicism teaches us to approach such situations with compassion, but also with discernment. Marcus Aurelius said, "You don't have to turn this into something. It doesn't have to upset you. Listen if you can, but don't absorb their energy as your own. What's important to remember is that people emitting negative energy are often struggling internally. There's a moment in every life where everything shifts. Not because the world changes, but because you change. It's the moment you realize that waiting for the perfect conditions, the perfect time, or the perfect opportunity is a game you'll never win. The Stoics taught us that life doesn't reward intentions or idle dreams. It rewards action, and the greatest power you have is the ability to choose right now to act. No matter your circumstances, no matter the obstacles, you hold the key to transformation. Today, we're diving into the timeless wisdom of Stoicism to uncover how you can seize that power, take control, and align your life with purpose and meaning. This could be the moment where everything changes for you. Let's begin. The catalyst of change in life's grand narrative. There are instances that serve as profound turning points where the ordinary flow of events is interrupted by something extraordinary. These are not just mere interruptions, but pivotal moments that can completely redefine our existence. These moments are our focus today, the inflection points that signal a shift from one chapter of our life to another. You might already have experienced several such moments, or perhaps yours are yet to come, lurking just around the corner. Regardless of their timing, these moments hold a beautiful promise. Once we embrace them, they set us on new, more enlightened paths, brimming with potential and laden with opportunities. Transformative instances. They often arrive unannounced, catching us off guard. A casual conversation that opens new vistas of thought. An unexpected encounter that challenges our long-held beliefs. Or a sudden personal revelation that shakes the very foundation of our understanding. Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that teaches the virtue of wisdom, courage and acceptance, offers a lens through which to view these changes. It teaches us that while we cannot control every event that happens to us, we can control our reactions to them, and in our responses lies our power and our potential for growth. Reflecting on my own life, I recall a time filled with uncertainty and struggle. At 25, I found myself grappling with a reality far from what I had envisioned. There I was, financially unstable and mentally exhausted, questioning the very essence of my efforts and the direction of my life. It was a period marked by deep introspection and a quest for meaning, a quest that many of us embark on at various stages of our lives. Stoicism reminds us that adversity is not just a test of our resilience, but a teacher of invaluable lessons. It is in our most challenging times that we often gain the clearest insights into who we are and what we are capable of achieving. This introspective journey led to a life-altering realization. Change was necessary, but how does one initiate such change? The Stoics would argue that change begins with self-awareness, recognizing the discrepancies between who we are and who we wish to be. This recognition is the first step towards genuine transformation. It involves acknowledging our imperfections, understanding our strengths, and most importantly, seizing the courage to refine our character in alignment with our ideals. In my case, the catalyst for such change was a mentor, a figure who embodied the virtues I aspired to. My mentor was not just a guide, but a mirror reflecting both my flaws and my potentials. He introduced me to the core principle that if one desires change, one must become the agent of that change. This principle, simple yet profound, resonated deeply with me, echoing the Stoic philosophy of personal responsibility and the power of self-control. My mentor's advice was clear. If you seek change, you must first change yourself. This advice, though daunting, highlighted a fundamental truth that our external circumstances often reflect our internal state. To alter my path, I needed to transform from within, embracing new habits, attitudes, and behaviors that aligned with the future I envisioned. Embracing change is not merely about making different choices. It's about transforming how we think, react, and engage with the world. It's about developing resilience, the kind the Stoics celebrated. Resilience that doesn't merely endure, but actively transforms challenges into opportunities for personal growth and wisdom. Each challenge faced, each obstacle overcome, and each fear confronted adds to our resilience and shapes us into more competent, capable individuals. The power of mentorship in navigating the often turbulent waters of life. The guidance of a mentor can serve as a beacon, illuminating the path towards personal and professional growth. Mentorship is not merely about acquiring knowledge or learning how to perform tasks more efficiently. It's fundamentally about transformation. A mentor sees the potential within us that we might overlook and challenges us to reach beyond our current limitations. Consider the Stoic belief in the power of wisdom and guidance from others. The Stoics, including philosophers like Seneca and Epictetus, often discussed the value of learning from those who have already walked the paths we are currently navigating. They understood that having a mentor is like having a wise advisor who can provide perspective that comes from experience and reflection, which are crucial in helping us develop the virtue and resilience needed to face life's challenges. A mentor can often be the catalyst for dramatic personal transformation. They do not simply respond to questions or provide ad hoc advice. Instead, they invest in their mentees, fostering a deep understanding and helping them to see the world through a broader lens. This relationship helps to cultivate critical thinking and encourages a mentee to question their own assumptions and beliefs. In the context of Stoicism, this reflective practice is essential as it pushes individuals to consider not just what they do, but why they do it, aligning their actions with their values and principles. The real power of mentorship lies in its ability to accelerate learning and growth. By sharing their own experiences, mentors can help mentees avoid common pitfalls and navigate challenges more effectively. This is not about making life easier, but about making the learning process more efficient. Stoicism teaches us to value knowledge that comes from experience, practical wisdom, as it is a vital tool in the pursuit of a good and meaningful life. A mentor embodies this wisdom, having already faced similar struggles and learned from them, thereby providing a roadmap that can guide us through similar challenges. Moreover, a mentor's impact extends beyond practical advice. They can instill confidence in their mentees, reinforcing their ability to make decisions and take action. This boost in self-assurance is crucial, especially when one is faced with difficult choices, or when stepping out of one's comfort zone, both common scenarios in personal and professional growth. The Stoic practice of cultivating inner strength and confidence through reasoned thought and reflection is mirrored in the mentor-mentee relationship where encouragement plays a key role. Mentors also model behaviors and attitudes that are aligned with our aspirational selves. They exemplify the virtues we strive to embody, such as integrity, courage, and perseverance. Seeing these qualities in action provides a living example of what is possible, inspiring us to adopt similar behaviors and attitudes in our own lives. This aspect of mentorship is particularly resonant with Stoicism, which emphasizes the importance of embodying virtues not just in thought, but in daily practice. Furthermore, mentors can help us to connect the dots between disparate parts of our lives, helping to create a coherent narrative that aligns with our overarching life goals. They provide a sounding board for our ideas, offering feedback that is not just about validation, but about challenging and refining our thoughts and approaches. This guidance is invaluable as we strive to live a life that is not only successful by external standards, but also richly fulfilling and aligned with our deepest values. Taking responsibility. In the journey of self-improvement and personal growth, one of the most pivotal steps is the act of taking responsibility for one's life. This is not just about acknowledging where you are or what you have done. It's about accepting that your current situation, regardless of external circumstances, is the result of your own choices and actions. This concept aligns closely with Stoic philosophy, which emphasizes control over one's inner state and responses rather than external events. The Stoics teach us that while we cannot control everything that happens in our lives, we have absolute power over our reactions. Epictetus, a prominent Stoic philosopher, famously said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This principle highlights the essence of personal responsibility. When we face challenges or setbacks, it's easy to blame external factors, the economy, other people, or our upbringing. However, embracing Stoic wisdom means shifting focus from the external to the internal, from blame to accountability. Taking responsibility involves a deep dive into self-awareness. It requires us to look honestly at our decisions and behaviors and to question how these have shaped our current realities. This isn't about self-blame or dwelling on past mistakes, but is about learning from these experiences to foster growth and resilience. For instance, if you find yourself unsatisfied with your career, rather than blaming the job market or your past employers, Stoicism would advise you to explore how your own choices led to your current position and what steps you can take to change your path. Moreover, taking responsibility empowers us to make changes. It's an act of reclaiming control over our lives. When we stop seeing ourselves as victims of circumstances and start viewing ourselves as active participants in our destinies, we unlock a powerful agency. This agency is the driving force behind real, sustainable change. It enables us to make decisions that align more closely with our values and goals, rather than reacting impulsively to situations. In practice, taking responsibility can manifest in various aspects of life. Financially, it might mean setting a budget and sticking to it, rather than lamenting a lack of funds. At the intersection of the old year and the new, we are often busy with lengthy lists of ambitious goals and new habits we aspire to adopt into our lives. However, those with a deeper understanding of transformation will recognize that the true secret of change does not lie entirely in adding more, but in letting go. This is what the Stoic philosopher Seneca emphasized. Not everything is difficult because we don't dare to do it, but we don't dare to do it because it is difficult. It is the barriers we create for ourselves that hinder our journey toward becoming the best version of who we are. Stoic philosophy is not just about building a good life. It also focuses on freeing ourselves from mental, emotional, and negative habitual burdens. To live a fulfilling and virtuous life, we must have the courage to confront and let go of what holds us back. In this video, we will explore 14 habits you must let go of to make 2025 the most remarkable year of your life, inspired by the profound principles of Stoicism. Get ready to embark on this journey and share the phrase that reflects your commitment in the comments below. 2025, I embrace my best self. This will be the most powerful declaration to mark the beginning of a meaningful and transformative year. Habit number 1, excessive comfort. Comfort, though enchanting, often plays the role of a silent enemy to personal growth. It wraps us in the cocoon of familiarity, lulling us into believing that ease is synonymous with happiness. Yet, as the Stoic philosophers taught, true fulfillment does not come from avoiding challenges, but from confronting them head-on. Marcus Aurelius once reminded us, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. When we choose comfort over challenge, we relinquish that power, allowing stagnation to take root in our lives. Imagine a weekend spent binge-watching television shows curled up under a blanket with a plate of snacks beside you. This is the epitome of comfort. While there is nothing inherently wrong with relaxation, overindulging in such habits can lead to dissatisfaction. The mind, when deprived of meaningful engagement, begins to wander, and a subtle sense of restlessness emerges. This is the body's way of signaling that growth has been neglected. Growth thrives in discomfort, much like muscles become stronger through resistance. A concrete example is learning a new skill such as swimming. For someone afraid of water, stepping into the pool for the first time can be an overwhelming experience. The sensation of water enveloping the body, the fear of sinking, and the vulnerability of not knowing what to do make the challenge daunting. But through persistence, embracing the cold water, trusting the instructor, and repeating floating exercises, confidence gradually builds. The joy of overcoming fear far outweighs the initial discomfort in life. Challenges, whether physical, emotional, or intellectual, are the rungs of the ladder to growth. The Stoics believed that adversity is not something to fear, but a tool for transformation. By stepping out of our comfort zones, we cultivate resilience and unlock our inner potential. Excessive comfort can feel like a refuge, but it is a deceptive one. Only by embracing discomfort can we truly make 2025 or any year the best year of our lives. Habit number 2, complaining. Complaining is an easy trap to fall into, but its consequences run deeper than we often realize. Every complaint, whether spoken aloud or simmering silently in our minds, drains our mental and emotional energy. Rather than addressing the root of the problem, complaining allows negativity to fester, creating a cycle of dissatisfaction that clouds our ability to think clearly and act decisively. To illustrate this, consider the story of Helen Keller, a woman who overcame the profound challenges of being both deaf and blind, despite facing a world that could have left her isolated and bitter. Keller refused to let her circumstances define her. Instead of lamenting what she lacked, she embraced learning with the help of her teacher Anne Sullivan, and went on to become an author, activist, and symbol of resilience. Keller once remarked, "Although the world is full of suffering, it is full also of the overcoming of it." Her life exemplifies how a proactive mindset can transform adversity into a foundation for growth and inspiration, showing us that complaining only diminishes our ability to see opportunities for action and change. Adopting a proactive mindset does not mean ignoring problems. It means approaching them constructively. The next time you feel the urge to complain, pause and ask yourself, what can I do to improve this situation? Whether it's finding a solution or simply adjusting your perspective. This shift in focus turns problems into challenges that fuel growth instead of obstacles that breed despair. When we abandon the habit of complaining, a stronger version of ourselves begins to emerge. However, another dangerous habit often accompanies complaining: the tendency to constantly judge others. What happens when we focus less on solutions and more on how others fail to meet our standards? This is where judgment creeps in. Subtle but powerful. It's a habit that can poison relationships, breed resentment, and distract us from our own progress. But is there a better way? A way to rise above the noise of relentless judgment? Let us explore this further habit. Number 3, constant judgment. Have you ever found yourself trapped in an endless cycle of judgment, categorizing people, actions, or situations as good or bad, right or wrong? While this may seem like control, it is not. Constant judgment consumes an extraordinary amount of energy, clouds your awareness, and erects walls between you and reality. In this mental chaos, clarity and calm become distant dreams. The Stoics understood this well. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most revered Stoic philosophers, wrote, "You always own the option of having no opinion. There is never any need to get worked up or to trouble your soul about things you can't control." His wisdom reminds us that judgment is often a self-imposed burden, one that saps our strength and blinds us to the true nature of things. Imagine heading to work in the morning amidst heavy traffic. You are running late. Every driver seems rude, and the world feels like it's conspiring against you. Judgment sparks frustration. Why can't people drive properly? Or this city is such a mess. This spiral compounds your stress, isolating you in anger. Now picture observing the same scenario without judgment. You notice the blaring horns, the slow pace, and even your own impatience, but you resist labeling the experience as bad. Suddenly the world feels less hostile, and you are free to focus on finding solutions instead of drowning in negativity. Stoic philosophy reflects on detachment, urging us to focus on our perceptions and responses rather than external circumstances. By refraining from hastily categorizing every experience, we find freedom in simply existing, gaining deeper insights into the fleeting nature of thoughts and emotions. Such discipline allows us to navigate life calmly, even in challenging situations. Through this lens, the habit of constant judgment is revealed as an obstacle to clarity and serenity. Letting go of it not only reduces emotional turmoil, but also opens the door to a deeper understanding of reality. Continuous judgment is not a shield, but a chain. To truly live a life of clarity and calm in 2025, abandon this habit. Observe the world as it is without rushing to label it. Within this space of non-judgment lies your freedom, strength, and peace. Habit number 4, the illusion of knowing everything. On the grand journey of life, the illusion that you know everything is one of the most dangerous traps of the human mind. The intellectual ego, a subtle whisper that says you already know it all, is not only a sign of overconfidence, but also a wall that blocks the path to learning, growth, and fulfillment. At the core of Stoic philosophy lies intellectual humility and the cultivation of a beginner's mindset. The most powerful antidote to this illusion. Imagine an experienced expert attending a seminar. During the discussion, someone presents a groundbreaking idea. Instead of listening attentively, the expert dismisses it internally, thinking, "I've heard this before. What could they possibly teach me?" This is the illusion of knowing it all at work. By clinging to the knowledge they perceive as perfect, they miss the opportunity to expand their understanding and explore new possibilities. This scenario famously played out in the life of Charles Darwin. Despite his revolutionary contributions to science, Darwin maintained a deep intellectual humility. He once remarked, "Ignorance more frequently begets confidence than does knowledge," even as one of history's greatest thinkers. Darwin constantly challenged his own assumptions and remained open to new perspectives. It was this humility that not only propelled his discoveries, but also shaped his legacy as a lifelong learner, cultivating a beginner's mindset. Viewing the world with curiosity and openness invites wisdom into our lives. It allows us to ask questions without fear of seeming ignorant, to listen rather than speak, and to recognize that everyone, regardless of status, has something valuable to teach us. As the Stoics would argue, true strength lies not in asserting dominance through knowledge, but in understanding that we are always students of life. As you prepare for 2025, ask yourself, what assumptions are holding me back and limiting my personal growth? What would happen if I embraced each day with the curiosity of a beginner? Share your thoughts in the comments. What strategies have helped you overcome the illusion of knowing it all? Together, we can embark on a journey of humility and lifelong learning. Habit number 5, lack of self-control. Imagine a moment filled with emotional chaos, a heated argument spiraling out of control, fueled by anger you cannot contain. Or perhaps it's the allure of fleeting desires, an unnecessary shopping spree, an evening wasted scrolling mindlessly on your phone. These impulses, seemingly harmless at first, gradually erode the most precious thing you possess, your freedom. As Marcus Aurelius once wrote, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. At its core, a lack of self-control is the surrender of that power, allowing unchecked emotions and desires to dictate your life. Self-control isn't merely about suppressing anger or resisting temptation. It's the practice of mastering yourself to act in alignment with your deeper values. Without self-control, you become a prisoner of external forces, bound by fleeting pleasures and reactive emotions. This state not only undermines your goals, but also disrupts inner peace. The Stoics believed that true freedom comes from within, and it begins with self-mastery. So, for example, the story of James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits. In his youth, Clear suffered a severe head injury that upended his life and ambitions. Instead of succumbing to frustration or self-pity, he built habits centered on small, consistent efforts. By mastering his emotions and focusing on long-term progress, Clear transformed his life and achieved extraordinary success. His journey underscores a Stoic principle. Self-control is the foundation of a meaningful and fulfilling life. Now think about your own life. How often have you let anger dictate your words or desires, pull you away from your goals? Stoic philosophy urges us to pause, reflect, and act deliberately. Mastering oneself doesn't mean denying emotions, but guiding them wisely. As you practice this, you reclaim autonomy and nurture an unshakable inner peace to make 2025 a year of transformation. Resolve to confront the silent adversary of self-control. By mastering yourself, you not only break free from the chains of impulsiveness, but also live a life aligned with your highest values, a life of freedom, strength, and tranquility. Habit number 6, giving less than your best effort. Mediocrity is a silent thief. It does not boldly announce its presence, nor does it barge into your life. Instead, it creeps in bit by bit. In every moment, we choose to accept less than our best. The consistent failure to give our utmost effort, even in the smallest tasks, accumulates over time, leading to a life that falls short of its inherent potential. In those moments when we accept good enough, we inadvertently forfeit the greatness we are entirely capable of achieving. Imagine this: you are participating in a group project at work. The deadline is approaching, and instead of striving to contribute creative ideas, you opt to do just the bare minimum, enough to avoid criticism, but not enough to inspire. What is the result? A lackluster presentation, unimpressed stakeholders, and missed opportunities for both you and your team. Now compare this to a scenario where you give your all, researching ideas late into the night, motivating your teammates and refining the final product until it's as good as it can be. The outcome may not be perfect, but the pride and growth you gain from the effort will transform your life. One path leads to mediocrity. The other builds character. In Stoic philosophy, striving for excellence is not about achieving perfection, but about consistently showing up as the best version of yourself. It means acting in alignment with your values and finding pride in the effort, not just the outcome. When you commit wholeheartedly to everything you do, whether it's your career, relationships, or personal goals, you develop resilience, discipline, and a profound sense of purpose. This dedication not only elevates the quality of your work, but also transforms who you are as a person as 2025 approaches. Take a moment to reflect on the areas of your life where mediocrity may have crept in. What would happen if you approached every task with maximum focus and effort? True fulfillment doesn't come from external rewards, but from knowing you've done your very best. I'd love to hear your thoughts. What areas of your life could benefit from a renewed commitment to excellence? Share your insights, and let's discuss how we can make 2025 the best year yet. Habit number 7, negative creativity. Have you ever wondered why your efforts don't yield the desired results? Mediocrity is not an unexpected destination, but the consequence of continuously underperforming. Sadly, negative creativity, though seemingly harmless, is one of the deepest roots of this stagnation. Negative creativity manifests in many forms. Excessive worry about things that haven't happened, magnifying minor mistakes into major disasters, or spending hours justifying failures instead of learning from them, for instance. A businessman once shared that instead of focusing on improving his product, he spent too much time coming up with reasons why customers didn't return. He blamed the market and competitors, never looking at the shortcomings in his operations. It wasn't until he realized he was trapped in a cycle of negative thinking that he decided to change and improve himself. As a result, his business soon flourished. Stoic philosophy reminds us you become what you repeatedly do. Therefore, if you want to overcome mediocrity, you must immediately stop negative creative habits and replace them with actions aimed at excellence. Focus on doing the small things to the best of your ability, as they are the foundation of character and will help you unlock your full potential. We want to express our gratitude and congratulations to you for making it halfway through today's video. Your presence here is not just our pleasure, but also proof that you are fully ready for the journey of self-transformation. Take a moment to pause and appreciate yourself for your efforts. Now, as we step into the next part of the journey, shift your attention to the following behavior. Releasing emotional baggage. Letting go of emotional burdens will be the key to stepping into 2025 with a light heart and abundant energy. Habit number 8, releasing emotional baggage in life. Carrying the burden of past mistakes or resentments is like dragging an anchor while trying to move forward. It drains energy, clouds judgment, and traps us in a cycle of regret. The Stoic philosophers teach that true freedom comes from emotional liberation, not by forgetting the past, but by reinterpreting its meaning. Consider the story of Sarah, a woman weighed down by guilt over her role in the dissolution of a business partnership for years. She harbored resentment toward her former partner, endlessly replaying the painful moments when trust was broken. This emotional burden not only hindered her ability to start anew, but also negatively affected her relationships and health. Inspired by Stoic philosophy, she began to reinterpret the events. Instead of focusing on the betrayal, she sought the hidden lessons in the experience. She realized that she had learned resilience, prudence, and the value of clear communication. Through journaling and moments of quiet reflection, she released her anger and resentment, transforming them into clarity. Freed from the past, Sarah was finally able to rebuild her career with compassion and insight. Practicing emotional liberation does not mean denying the pain we have endured, but choosing to rewrite its meaning. By letting go of resentment, we free ourselves to see things more clearly. Relationships deepen as compassion replaces bitterness, and our decisions align more closely with the person we aspire to become. The power of emotional release lies in its ability to clear the mental clutter, creating space for new growth. When we let go of the weight of the past, we build a stronger foundation for the life we desire. By reinterpreting and releasing, we turn pain into purpose, crafting the best version of ourselves for the year ahead. Habit number 9, focus on the process, not goals. In the relentless race to achieve success, many of us often become obsessed with results, measuring our self-worth by accomplishments or milestones achieved. However, this obsession with results often leaves us feeling dissatisfied even after reaching our goals. Why is that? Because the satisfaction of achieving a goal is fleeting, and the question "what's next?" quickly emerges. As Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. When we focus solely on results, we surrender our freedom to external circumstances, tying our happiness to fleeting things. Imagine a businesswoman pouring her heart into building her company. If she evaluates success solely by hitting a specific revenue target, she might overlook the value of late nights spent problem-solving, the resilience cultivated through failures, or the relationships forged along the way. She would miss the true rewards of the journey of growth, learning, and self-discovery. A real-life example of this shift in perspective comes from Michael Phelps, the most decorated Olympian in history. Despite his remarkable success, Phelps admitted to feeling empty after achieving his Olympic dream. His turning point came when he shifted his mindset from chasing gold medals to focusing on the process, the training, discipline, and love for swimming. This change not only reignited his passion, but also helped him find lasting happiness beyond the spotlight of victory. In Stoic philosophy, the process is where we grow. It is the small daily actions that shape our character and build resilience. By embracing the process, we free ourselves from anxiety about outcomes and discover joy in becoming the best version of ourselves. Ask yourself, are you chasing the finish line, or are you growing with each step of the journey? Share your thoughts. How can focusing on the process transform your approach to life in 2025? Leave a comment. I'd love to hear your perspective. Habit number 10, avoid the immediate availability trap. In a world overwhelmed by constant connectivity, responding to every notification, email, or call seems almost irresistible. However, this whirlwind of urgency not only depletes our mental energy, but also robs us of the ability to live intentionally. When we prioritize the urgent over what is truly important, we fall into the trap of being perpetually available. A never-ending race for immediate results, leaving us trapped in distraction and dissatisfaction to make 2025 a meaningful year. Breaking free from this trap is essential. Imagine a young man, James, starting his day with a meticulously planned to-do list. Yet as soon as he opens his email, he is overwhelmed by a flood of urgent requests from colleagues and clients. His carefully planned priorities quickly collapse under the pressure of immediate demands. By the end of the day, James is exhausted, but the most important tasks, strategizing for an upcoming presentation, reflecting on his career goals, or spending time with family, remain unfinished. James' story reflects the reality many of us face. The allure of instant responsiveness and perpetual availability creates the illusion of productivity, while in truth it steals away meaningful accomplishments. The Stoics understood the value of intentional living, and their wisdom remains relevant. As Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." This serves as a reminder to prioritize what truly matters and to act according to deep values. Rather than letting urgency dominate our lives to escape the trap of being perpetually available, we must learn to resist distractions and say yes to a purposeful way of living. This requires setting boundaries and dedicating uninterrupted time for deep work and rest. More importantly, we should ask ourselves, will this still matter tomorrow, next week, or next year? Truly important tasks often require patience and focus, while merely urgent ones only feed fleeting anxiety. By prioritizing what is important over what is immediate, we not only reclaim our time, but also regain clarity and purpose in life. Let 2025 be the year you stop living reactively in the grip of urgency and start creating a life that truly reflects your will and intentions. Habit number 11. Serve without seeking recognition, motivation derived from others. Recognition is like a flame that easily extinguishes. It burns brightly when praised, but quickly fades when it no longer receives attention. Stoic philosophy reminds us that acting for intrinsic values rather than seeking external approval is the path to freedom and peace when we live for the judgment of others. Every criticism feels like an arrow to the heart, and the silence of the crowd turns into an echo of insecurity. However, when we serve a higher purpose, kindness, dedication, or the work itself, the greatest reward isn't applause, but an inner sense of fulfillment. Take, for example, the story of Katherine Johnson, a brilliant NASA mathematician who made significant contributions to the success of space missions like Apollo 11. Throughout her career, Katherine didn't seek the spotlight despite her crucial role. She worked with dedication not for praise, but because she believed in the value of her work. It was only many years later that the world began to recognize her contributions. Yet this delayed recognition didn't diminish Katherine's legacy, because her greatness didn't lie in trophies or titles, but in the work she accomplished with honesty and passion. Ask yourself, are you working to prove something to the world, or are you acting to stay true to your values? True freedom doesn't come from the approval of others, but from finding joy in the journey, not just the destination. To maintain focus on core values, your environment plays a more critical role than you might think. A cluttered room can lead to a cluttered mind. A space filled with negativity can easily pull you away from inner balance. So how do you create a physical and mental environment that fosters growth? That's what we'll explore in the next. Habit number 12. Curate your environment. Imagine stepping into a room filled with noise, overlapping voices, and the weight of expectations pressing in from all sides. Everything in the room feels disconnected from who you are. The energy is stifling, and every action you take seems subject to judgment. Life can feel like this when we allow our environment, both physical and social, to be dictated by the need for external validation, actions driven by a desire for external approval, or attempts to meet standards that conflict with our values bring only unnecessary suffering. The Stoic philosophers taught us that true freedom does not come from molding the world to our will, but from creating an inner and outer environment that reflects integrity while seeking intrinsic rewards. Take the story of Simone Biles, the Olympic gymnast who chose to withdraw from competitions in 2021 to prioritize her mental health. The world initially expected her to keep competing to win for national pride and public admiration. Yet she made a conscious decision, to craft her environment by choosing peace and reflection over the noise of expectations. In doing so, she found the freedom to heal and rediscover her purpose, not as an athlete bound by others' recognition, but as a person living according to her own values. Her courage sent a powerful message. Greatness is not measured by medals, but by the strength to uphold one's integrity. Epictetus once said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control." This principle underscores the importance of shaping our environment. When you actively curate relationships, spaces, and goals that nurture your character, you liberate yourself from the chains of societal pressure. Instead of chasing applause or approval, you create a sanctuary where growth thrives. As 2025 begins, ask yourself, does your environment reflect your true self? If not, it's time to let go of what no longer serves you. Build a space, both physical and mental, where integrity flourishes and the only recognition that matters is your own habit. Number 13. Daily discipline. Over grand achievements, many people become engrossed in pursuing grand achievements, forgetting that it is the small, consistent efforts made daily that form the true foundation of success. Stoic philosophy reminds us that instead of obsessing over the destination, we should focus on the journey guided by daily discipline. Discipline is not a one-time act meant to impress. It is a habit cultivated through small, repeated actions. It is how you live, not just what you do. Imagine someone wanting to learn how to play the piano initially. They feel excited and set high goals, dedicating an entire week to intense practice. However, after just a few days, they become discouraged by the lack of visible progress and eventually give up. Conversely, if they choose a slow but steady approach, practicing for just 15 minutes a day, regardless of their mood, they will see significant improvement after a year. This method not only enhances their piano playing skills, but also builds resilience and self-belief. A real-world example of the power of daily discipline is the story of James Clear, author of Atomic Habits. When he started blogging, he didn't set grandiose goals, but simply committed to writing one post per week. Over time, not only did his content improve, but his writing skills also advanced significantly. This small habit laid the foundation for a thriving career, inspiring millions of people worldwide. The lesson here is that progress doesn't come from explosive bursts of effort, but from small, consistent steps repeated over time. Start with small but regular habits. While the results may not be immediately apparent, over time they will lead to remarkable achievements. So are you applying this principle in your life, or are you still drawn to the empty promises of quick success? Daily discipline teaches us that patience and commitment not only build skills, but also strengthen inner resilience, a quality that helps you face any challenge life throws your way. What small step can you take today to move closer to your goals? Share your thoughts in the comments so we can inspire and learn from one another. Habit number 14. Combat procrastination. We often tell ourselves that we will act when the perfect time comes, when work is less busy, when we have enough skills, or when we feel ready. But the perfect time doesn't exist. It's merely an illusion, a subtle mental trap to justify procrastination. Stoic philosophy reminds us that action, not waiting, is the true tool to move life forward. Think of Steve's story, a young entrepreneur who delayed starting his business project because he believed he needed more experience. For 2 years, Steve quietly planned, researched, and waited for the perfect time to begin. But when an unexpected economic crisis struck, the market he intended to target gradually shifted and his idea lost its viability. Steve realized that if he had acted from the start, taking small steps, such as testing his product or exploring the market, he might have gained momentum, clarity, and perhaps even success. The magic of action lies in its ability to create clarity. A book project can begin with writing 1 page a day. A health goal can start with a 10-minute walk. Small steps not only bring you closer to your goal, but also break the cycle of procrastination, putting you back in control. The year 2025 can be your best year yet, but only if you start now. Don't let procrastination hold back your potential. With just one small step, you'll be one step closer to the future. You've always dreamed of acting today. Even imperfectly is the key to unlocking tomorrow. We've explored 14 habits to let go of in order to make 2025 a remarkable turning point in life, from releasing complaints to steering clear of unrealistic expectations. Each lesson is not just philosophical, but also a practical guide to living more freely, confidently, and resiliently in the face of challenges. All of this is inspired by Stoic philosophy, which emphasizes the true value of self-control and accepting what lies beyond our power. Looking back, which habit do you feel most ready to give up to build a fulfilling 2025? Is there anything on the list that surprised you or made you reflect further? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your story if you found this video helpful. Don't forget to hit like to let us know you enjoy content like this. Share the video with your friends and family to spread the profound values of Stoic philosophy, and be sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future inspirational videos. Let's be honest, life isn't always smooth sailing. We all have dreams, ambitions, and goals. But sooner or later we hit a wall. Maybe it's self-doubt creeping in, an unexpected setback, or a lack of motivation. In those moments, questions start to surface. Am I really capable of achieving this? Do I have the strength to keep going? The truth is, the power to move forward is already within you, but it doesn't come from waiting for the right moment or relying on sheer willpower alone. It comes from discipline, from showing up every single day, even when you feel like quitting. It's about pushing past your limits, overcoming obstacles, and rising every time you fall. In this episode, we'll break down 10 powerful principles to help you push through, stay disciplined, and unlock your true potential, rooted in Stoic wisdom and practical strategies. These aren't just motivational quotes. They're actionable steps you can start applying right now, no matter where you are in your journey. So let's dive in and start building the resilience you need to truly win in life. 1. Unlock your true potential. How often do you find yourself doubting your abilities? Maybe it's the thought of starting something new, or maybe you're in the middle of a project and wonder if you're really cut out for it. That little voice of self-doubt can be overwhelming, and it's easy to listen to it and believe that you're not capable of achieving your dreams. But here's the truth. You have untapped potential inside of you, and all it takes to unlock it is the willingness to push past those self-imposed limits. Self-doubt is one of the biggest obstacles that holds us back. We look at the challenges ahead, the goals we want to achieve, and we start to question whether we have what it takes. It's like standing at the base of a mountain, looking up at the peak and convincing yourself that you'll never make it. The higher you look, the more daunting it seems. But the truth is, you don't have to climb the entire mountain in one go. You just have to take the first step, then the next, and keep moving forward. Progress is made in small, consistent actions, not in grand leaps. The Stoics knew this all too well. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, wrote in his Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." What he's telling us is that your potential is not limited by your circumstances, but by the way you choose to respond to them. The way you perceive challenges, obstacles, and setbacks can either fuel your growth or hold you back. The key to unlocking your true potential is in your ability to control your mindset. Self-doubt often comes from fear. The fear of failing, the fear of not being good enough, or the fear of rejection. But every time you give in to that fear, you let it define your limits. You stop yourself from even trying. And that's where the danger lies. By staying in your comfort zone, you never give yourself the chance to see just how much you're capable of. Imagine for a moment that you push past that fear. What would happen if you started believing that you could succeed even if the road ahead seemed challenging? What if you decided to take action despite your doubts, to push through the uncertainty and give your best effort? That's when things begin to change. When you start taking those small steps, no matter how hard they seem at first, you'll start building momentum. Each step you take will strengthen your confidence, and the doubts will start to fade away. Think about someone you admire, a person who's accomplished something extraordinary. They didn't achieve it by being fearless or perfect. They achieved it by facing their fears and doubts head-on, by pushing through the uncertainty and continuing to move forward one step at a time. You have the same potential inside you. All it takes is the courage to start and the discipline to keep going. Start today by identifying one area of your life where self-doubt has been holding you back. It could be a project you've been postponing or a goal you've been too afraid to pursue. Commit to taking just one small step toward that goal today. It doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be progress. With each step you take, you'll unlock more of your true potential. Your potential is limitless, but only if you choose to break through the barriers of self-doubt. It's time to stop holding yourself back. You've got what it takes. Now it's time to prove it to yourself. 2. Find your inner drive. It's easy to get excited at the beginning of a new project, a new goal, or a new year. The motivation is high and you feel unstoppable. But what happens when that excitement starts to fade? What happens when the initial thrill of starting something new wears off and you're left with a day-to-day grind? The truth is, motivation alone isn't enough to keep you going. Motivation is a spark. It lights the fire, but it doesn't keep it burning. It fades, it wanes, and it disappears when challenges arise. What keeps you moving forward when motivation is no longer enough is discipline and purpose. These are the things that will keep you going even when the road gets tough, and they are the foundation of true success. Think about the times in your life when you've achieved something significant. Were you motivated every single day? Probably not. In fact, there were probably days when you didn't feel like getting out of bed or facing the tasks ahead. But you did it anyway, right? You showed up, did the work, and kept going. That's the power of discipline. It's the ability to keep pushing forward even when you don't feel like it. It's the act of doing what needs to be done, even when you don't have the motivation to do it. The Stoics believed that true freedom and strength come from self-discipline. They understood that the path to greatness is not paved with easy wins or constant motivation, but with consistent effort and focus. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, obstacles are not to be avoided. They are to be used as fuel. When you find your purpose and align it with your actions, you become unstoppable. Finding your inner drive starts with understanding why you do what you do. What is your deeper purpose? What is the greater vision that drives you beyond the daily tasks and hurdles? When you connect with this purpose, you don't need to wait for motivation to strike. You can rely on your discipline and determination to keep you moving forward. Take a moment to think about your goals. What are you working toward, and why does it matter to you? When you find that core reason, that deep motivation, you'll find that even on the tough days, you'll have the strength to keep going. You'll be able to tap into your inner drive and push through the challenges that come your way. One of the biggest obstacles to staying motivated is the feeling of being overwhelmed. When you focus only on the big picture and the end result, it can be easy to get discouraged. But here's a simple trick. Break it down. Focus on small, actionable steps. When you take one step at a time, the bigger goal doesn't seem so daunting. Each small win will keep you moving forward, and each step will bring you closer to your purpose. In moments of doubt, ask yourself, why did I start this? Reconnect with your purpose and let that inner drive propel you forward. Motivation will come and go, but purpose and discipline will keep you on track no matter what. So the next time you feel your motivation slipping, remember that it's not about waiting for that burst of inspiration. It's about pushing through anyway, focusing on your discipline and staying connected to your deeper purpose. Your inner drive is the key to achieving anything you set your mind to. Trust in that and let it guide you. 3. Break the fear barrier. Fear. It's something we all experience at some point in our lives. It can feel paralyzing, overwhelming, and all-consuming. Whether it's the fear of failure, the fear of judgment, or the fear of the unknown, it has a way of holding us back from reaching our true potential. 3. We avoid taking risks, shy away from challenges, and tell ourselves that we're not ready yet. But here's the thing, fear is the barrier between where you are now and where you want to be. The Stoics were well aware of the power of fear. They didn't ignore it. They faced it head-on, using it as fuel for growth. Seneca, a prominent Stoic philosopher, once said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Fear often stems from our imagination, what we think could happen, what we imagine others might say, or how we picture failure. But in reality, fear is often much worse in our minds than it is in reality. It's a mental construct that holds us back from taking action, from stepping into the unknown and discovering our true capabilities. So how do we overcome fear? The answer isn't to eliminate it completely. That's impossible. Fear will always be there, lurking in the background. The key is learning how to face it, how to use it as a tool for growth rather than letting it control you. The Stoics believed in embracing adversity. They saw challenges as opportunities to build resilience and strength. In fact, they believed that the more we face our fears and overcome them, the stronger we become. The first step to breaking through the fear barrier is to acknowledge the fear. Don't try to push it away or pretend it doesn't exist. Fear is natural and it's part of the human experience. When you feel fear, stop and ask yourself, what am I afraid of? Is it failure, rejection, the unknown? By identifying the source of your fear, you take away some of its power. You can start to see that it's not as intimidating as it seems. Once you've identified your fear, shift your perspective. Instead of seeing fear as a roadblock, start to view it as a signal that you're on the verge of growth, that you're pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone. The things that scare us are often the very things that will lead to our greatest breakthroughs. By leaning into fear rather than avoiding it, you start to break down the barriers that are holding you back. Another key to overcoming fear is taking small, intentional actions. Fear thrives when we stay stagnant, when we don't take any action at all. But when we move forward, even in small steps, we start to gain confidence and diminish the power that fear holds over us. The Stoics taught us that our actions are in our control, even if the outcome is uncertain. Each step you take, no matter how small, is a victory over the fear that's trying to hold you back. Think about the first time you did something that scared you. Maybe it was speaking in front of a crowd, starting a new project, or facing a difficult conversation. In the beginning, the fear felt overwhelming. But once you took that first step, the fear began to fade. You realized that the thing you feared wasn't as powerful as you had imagined. This is the power of action. Once you begin, fear loses its grip. Remember, fear is not your enemy. It's your teacher. It shows you where you need to grow, where you need to push yourself. Don't let it control your life. Face it, embrace it, and use it as fuel to propel you toward your goals. So the next time fear arises, don't shrink away from it. Step into it. Take that first step, even if it's small, and know that with each step you take, you're not just moving toward your goal, you're becoming the person you're meant to be. The person who doesn't let fear dictate their life. 4. Set clear, actionable goals. Have you ever set a big goal, full of excitement and energy, only to find that months later, you're still in the same place, feeling frustrated and stuck? We've all been there. The idea of achieving something great can be thrilling, but without clear, actionable goals, that excitement quickly fades into confusion and overwhelm. It's easy to get lost in the idea of success without knowing exactly how to get there. The problem is that without a clear plan, success remains a distant dream, not a tangible reality. The Stoics understood this better than anyone. They didn't just set lofty ideals, they focused on what they could control and broke their larger goals down into smaller, actionable steps. They believed that without clear goals, we would drift aimlessly, constantly chasing after things that didn't align with our true purpose. The first step in achieving anything is to define exactly what you want. Be specific about your goals. Vague goals like, I want to be successful or I want to be healthier are not enough. To make progress, you need to get detailed. What does success look like for you? What specific health goals do you want to achieve? The more specific your goals are, the clearer your path becomes. But setting goals isn't just about being specific. You need to make sure your goals are also actionable. It's not enough to write down a dream. You need to break it down into steps you can take on a daily or weekly basis. This is where many people fail. They set a big goal, but they don't map out the small necessary actions required to get there. The Stoics believed in focusing on the process, not the outcome. They knew that success is built on small, consistent actions, not on hoping for big, dramatic changes overnight. Let's take an example. Imagine your goal is to write a book. That's a huge, daunting task, and it's easy to get overwhelmed by the enormity of it. But if you break it down, it suddenly becomes more manageable. Start by setting small, achievable milestones. Write 500 words a day or finish one chapter per week. The key is to set goals that are within your control and to make them as actionable as possible. If you focus only on the end result, it will seem too distant to achieve. But when you focus on the smaller steps, each one becomes a win and momentum starts to build. In the Stoic tradition, this process is called virtue. Virtue isn't just about achieving a goal, it's about taking the right actions regardless of the outcome. https Marcus Aurelius said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." In other words, the way you approach your goals, your mindset, determines whether you will succeed. If you approach your goals with clarity, determination, and small, deliberate steps, you will make progress every single day. Another critical component of setting clear goals is measuring your progress. It's not enough to have a goal, track your results. Check in regularly to see how you're doing. This helps you stay focused and adjust your actions when needed. The Stoics didn't just set goals, they constantly evaluated their actions and their progress. This self-reflection helped them improve and stay on course, no matter how difficult the journey became. Finally, it's important to remain flexible. Life rarely goes exactly as planned, and sometimes you'll encounter obstacles. The key is not to abandon your goals, but to adjust your plan when needed. Remember, the process is just as important as the outcome. The Stoics believed in accepting what is outside of their control, while focusing all their energy on what they could influence. When you set clear, actionable goals and commit to the process, you will succeed. You will have the resilience to face any challenges that come your way. So take some time today to define a clear, actionable goal. Break it down into small, manageable steps and commit to taking those steps every day. Start with what you can control and focus on the process rather than the outcome. With patience, consistency, and discipline, you'll find yourself moving closer to your dreams. 5. Develop a resilient mindset. It's easy to feel defeated when things don't go as planned. We all face setbacks, whether it's a failed project, a missed opportunity, or even personal challenges that seem to keep knocking us down. The key to overcoming these obstacles isn't just in the actions we take, but in the mindset we cultivate. A resilient mindset is what will allow you to rise every time you fall and keep moving forward, even when the road gets tough. Resilience isn't about avoiding failure, it's about how we handle it. It's the ability to look at failure not as a defeat, but as a valuable learning experience. The Stoics understood this well. They didn't see adversity as something to be feared or avoided. They saw it as an essential part of life, something to be embraced and learned from. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, said, "Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body." This is a crucial mindset shift. Instead of seeing challenges as obstacles, the Stoics taught us to view them as opportunities to grow, to build inner strength, and to develop resilience. Think about some of the most resilient people you know. These are the people who, despite facing tough times, continue to push forward. They don't let setbacks define them. Instead, they use failure as fuel to keep going. Resilience is about how you respond to the setbacks, not how you avoid them. It's about showing up every day, even when you feel like you've been beaten down. The first step to building a resilient mindset is to embrace challenges. The Stoics didn't believe in seeking comfort. They believed in seeking growth. They knew that the greatest lessons and strength come from facing adversity head-on. So when you encounter a setback, instead of retreating or feeling defeated, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? The answer will give you the strength to keep moving forward. Failure isn't the end. It's a part of the process. It's simply a signal to adapt, adjust, and keep pushing forward. Another key to resilience is self-compassion. It's easy to be hard on yourself when things don't go as planned. We tend to focus on our failures, which can drain our energy and motivation. But instead of being self-critical, practice kindness toward yourself. Understand that mistakes are part of the human experience and that they don't define you. What defines you is how you respond to those mistakes, whether you choose to learn from them and grow or let them hold you back. Resilience also means staying grounded in your values. It's easy to get swept up in the chaos of life, to let the ups and downs dictate how we feel and how we act. But resilient people know who they are and what they stand for. They don't let the circumstances of life change their core beliefs or values. When things get tough, staying true to your values gives you the strength to keep moving forward. How does something that starts so beautifully become the source of pain and destruction? Why does evil creep in so silently and settle so deeply? Today we'll uncover 7 ways. Narcissistic relationships allow darkness to infiltrate and spread, unraveling the true nature of their destruction through the timeless wisdom of Stoicism. We'll navigate this complex terrain, exposing the subtle tactics of narcissists and equipping you with the strength to confront and overcome them. What I'll share isn't just theoretical, it's drawn from real-life experiences and profound reflection. So stay present, listen closely, and don't miss a single step on this journey. Each strategy will reveal a new perspective, a vital lesson to help you protect and reclaim your sense of self. Walk with me to the end of this path where genuine liberation and peace await. Let's begin. Number 1. Start with charm and end in ruin. Evil rarely enters your life with a terrifying appearance. It begins subtly, intimately, and irresistibly, like the glow of an oil lamp in the darkness in a narcissistic relationship. This is the love-bombing phase, a dazzling display of affection, so convincing that you believe you've found true love, but this light is fleeting. It's a flame meant to lure, not to warm your heart. Think back to the last time someone made you feel remarkably special. Perhaps they locked eyes with you, spoke as if they'd known you forever, and showered you with tender messages, surprise gifts, and promises of eternal happiness. One woman recounted how her ex surprised her with a romantic evening complete with a speech declaring her as the most perfect woman he had ever met in that moment. She believed she was everything to him. What she didn't know was that these grand gestures were merely the prologue to a manipulative play, initial charm. No matter how enchanting, if driven by an intent to shatter your spirit, and life is evil, masquerading as love, Stoicism reminds us to look beyond appearances and examine the essence of things. Once trust and affection are secured, the narcissist subtly infiltrates your mind. Compliments grow scarce, replaced by veiled criticisms. Are you sure that's the right way to do it? I find your approach a bit odd at first. You might interpret these as constructive feedback. Over time you realize you are changing, not to grow. But to meet their expectations, one man recalled how his girlfriend constantly questioned his love, even hours after a romantic date. Initially, her inquiries felt like a need for reassurance, but they soon became demands to continually prove his affection, leaving him disconnected from what love truly meant. Epictetus wisely observed, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters in such a relationship. The critical factor isn't just what they say or do, but how you allow it to affect you." Unaware of the manipulation, you may unconsciously cede control over your life bit by bit. The collapse doesn't happen instantly. It's like a small crack in glass spreading until the entire surface shatters. Narcissists gradually consume your time, energy, and eventually your freedom. Acts of love morph into demands for control, criticisms, and endless conflicts. A woman once shared how she gave up a promising career because her husband convinced her that family is more important, but once she became fully dependent on him, she found herself needing his permission for even the smallest things like buying a cup of coffee. Seneca warned, "He suffers more than necessary who suffers before it is necessary." Fear of losing the relationship, guilt, and the urge to meet their expectations force you to endure unnecessary pain. Slowly, you forget your dreams, values, and joys. What began as a subtle pinprick of evil has grown into a towering oak, its roots tightly gripping your life. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of seeing yourself clearly and honestly. When faced with such a relationship, ask yourself, am I truly receiving something good? Or is this taking more from me than it gives? A narcissistic relationship doesn't just destroy love. It consumes your work, friendships, finances, and every corner of your life. But Marcus Aurelius reminds us the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. By fortifying your mind, understanding your worth, and rejecting manipulation, you can escape this evil and rebuild your life. Remember, no love is worth more than your inner freedom and peace. Number 2, target empathic and agreeable people in the realm of relationships, especially those involving narcissists. Their lies are harsh, but undeniable truth. They gravitate toward empathetic and accommodating individuals. These people, often with generous hearts, are willing to prioritize others' needs over their own. Yet this unconditional kindness makes them ideal targets for manipulation and control. Empathy viewed through the Stoic lens is more than just understanding others' emotions. It is a rational practice of discerning what is truly good versus what merely appears so. Empathy isn't blind compassion that diminishes self-worth, but the ability to acknowledge another's pain while maintaining clarity of mind. Unfortunately, in reality, empathy is often misconstrued as unconditional surrender, a habit of putting others first without considering whether it's justified. When empathy falls into the hands of the undeserving, it ceases to be a virtue and becomes a vulnerability. Stoicism reminds us that every action, even those born of kindness, must be guided by wisdom and awareness. Empathy transforms from a guiding light into a shadow that obscures our resolve, paving the way for manipulation and harm. Narcissists are quick to recognize this to them. Empathetic individuals are like gold mines, people not only willing to endure, but feeling obligated to heal them. Imagine meeting someone new, charming and self-assured, who shares tales of deep personal wounds. Their words awaken your compassion, convincing you that you are uniquely equipped to help them heal over time. However, you realize these stories were not heartfelt confessions, but tools of manipulation. They do not seek healing. They crave control. You find yourself bearing their emotional burdens, their demands growing incessantly, leaving you drained and weary. Seneca once wrote, "He who is brave is free," but in such relationships, mustering the courage to set boundaries is no small feat for empathetic individuals. Patience and tolerance often masquerade as virtues. They sacrifice believing their concessions preserve harmony. Yet have you ever paused to ask, are these efforts truly building a relationship or merely fostering one-sided sacrifice that leads to loss? One story I recall is of a woman celebrated for her selflessness. She entered a relationship with a narcissist who initially lavished her with praise, making her feel indispensable, but soon the flattery turned into relentless demands. "If you truly love me, you'll do this for me. He would say each refusal was met with guilt-laden reproach, forcing her to relent. Her kindness, instead of being cherished, became a trap that stole her freedom and happiness. When you recognize your empathy is being exploited, it's vital to pause and ask yourself, is this sacrifice truly worth it? Am I losing myself to maintain this relationship? A key Stoic exercise involves distinguishing between what we can control and what we cannot. When dealing with a narcissist, you cannot change them, but you can set clear boundaries for yourself. This can be daunting, especially when you fear that standing firm may jeopardize the relationship. Yet consider this as a relationship worth preserving if it is destroying you. One young man's story offers a powerful example. He found himself entangled in a relationship with a narcissistic friend, believing it was his duty to save her from her struggles. But when he decided to establish boundaries, refusing to answer messages immediately or engaging in trivial arguments, her anger revealed her frustration at losing control over him. That decision not only freed him from a toxic relationship, but also brought him peace and autonomy. Empathy is not a flaw, but when unchecked, it becomes a tool for exploitation. Stoicism teaches that freedom comes not from pleasing others, but from living true to one's values. If you are an empathetic person, remember that your kindness is a precious gift, one that must be given selectively. Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is by disregarding things that lie beyond our control in relationships with narcissists. Only by setting boundaries can you truly safeguard your inner strength and preserve your sense of self. Number 3, test the waters and take control after exploiting your empathy and willingness to compromise to establish initial control. Narcissists don't stop there, they escalate to a more sophisticated tactic: testing your limits. This is the phase where they begin to assess how much you are willing to endure, sacrifice, and tolerate to maintain the relationship. Subtle acts seemingly harmless, like light criticism or temporary emotional withdrawal, quickly escalate into larger manipulations where threats and control take center stage. At this point, it's no longer about holding your emotions hostage. It's about pushing you into a spiral where they dominate, and you find yourself proving your worth by clinging to a relationship that's no longer balanced when you beg them to stay. Even apologizing for things you didn't do wrong, you unknowingly hand them a powerful tool: the ability to control you. You become part of a manipulation cycle, reduced to being the keeper of the relationship, sacrificing yourself to prevent its collapse. Stoicism reminds us that the only thing truly within our control is ourselves. How we respond to threats and manipulation determines whether we become victims or remain steadfast. Yet navigating these situations is far from easy. Narcissists excel at creating a sense of crisis and anxiety, making you fear losing the rare moments of goodness. In the relationship, though, these moments are fleeting. You clinging to them as if they were a lifeline, unaware that this very attachment is what binds you. Imagine yourself in such a relationship. After a minor argument, your partner threatens to leave, claiming they're exhausted and want to end things panicked. You try to soothe them, even blaming yourself for trivial matters. You beg them to stay, believing it's the only way to save the relationship. They return, acting loving and kind for a few days before the cycle starts again. This isn't just manipulation, it's a constant test of your limits. How much will you endure to keep them? How far will you go to make sacrifices? But do you really need to? Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This wisdom underscores that your worth isn't defined by others. Someone who regularly threatens to leave doesn't deserve your effort. They don't respect you or provide the safety and peace your soul needs. So why? Hold on. A woman once shared that her husband frequently used the threat of divorce to control her. Whenever she didn't comply with his wishes, he'd claim he couldn't take it anymore and would leave out of fear. She would apologize and agree to his demands even when they were unfair. Each time she unknowingly handed him more power to manipulate her emotions and behavior. One day, however, she came across Epictetus' words, "No man is free who is not master of himself." This inspired her to realize that true freedom comes from rejecting things beyond her control, including her husband's relentless threats.